Good afternoon, everybody. Thank you for coming to the Human Relations Part 3 webinar, Managing and Improving Relationships. I am Patrick Martin. I'm a teacher's assistant. I can help with mathematics, history, English, or science. I have been at Penn Foster for almost 10 years now. And I hope this webinar helps with the how to identify frustration and aggression. The first thing I'd like to say is welcome to this course. We hope we've provided you some basic information for the lesson and that it's helpful to you and aids your successful completion of the lesson offered. Now, in the lesson, there are many issues that you'll face as you advance through your career and through life. Honestly, these can affect you in any number of ways. Handling frustration and aggression, being late, the 4 common mistakes made, and how to repair any kind of injured relationship that has resulted from these things. And always try to maintain a positive attitude. So when you identify frustration and aggression, we'll start with their definitions. Frustration is the feeling you get when events are beyond your control and they keep you from reaching your goal. So you're trying to get to work. Your goal is to get to work. You want to get there, get paid, but you run into traffic, which you can't control. And the more traffic you run into in construction and everything that's on the roads, the red lights you hit, whatever it is, anything that keeps you from reaching that goal gets increasingly more frustrating. And one of the results of frustration is aggression. Aggression is usually the need to strike out physically or verbally. And the goal of aggression, though it often does not work this way, but the goal is to try to remove the obstacle that has caused the frustration. So you're looking to remove whatever it is that's aggravating you. So you're stuck in traffic for what seems like 3 days when it may have only been about 10 minutes. We've all been there. And you're stuck, and it gets increasingly more frustrating. And out of nowhere, you verbally strike out. I can't believe this traffic. And you yell whatever it is, or physically maybe you pound the dashboard or something like that. And the goal of that is you're hoping somehow that's going to help remove the frustration. And a lot of times that does not work. There are better ways to deal with minor frustrations and major frustrations. A great way to deal with a minor frustration is physical activity. Do something, and it doesn't have to be, but exercise is always good, but it doesn't have to be necessarily you getting up and walking around. As I said, the example of the traffic, maybe something to help blow off steam. Maybe you find a song on the radio and you turn it up a little and you start singing. Maybe something like that, just to help you blow off steam and do some physical activity. Another great way is to use positive self-talk. Just keep telling yourself, I'm stuck in traffic, but this doesn't make me a bad person. This is not my doing. I'm a good person still, And then there are ways to handle major frustrations. Major frustrations could be anything, maybe you get to work and you're late because of the traffic, and your boss says, well, I'm sorry you're late, but we can't put you on today because you're too late. You have to go home. So that's a major frustration. That's a day you're missing. Maybe it snows where you live and you can't get out of your driveway, and that's a major frustration. There are ways to persevere in taking control of your life, setting goals, and then working towards them. A major frustration for one of my friends in his life was he couldn't afford to get a house. He really wanted a house. And he eventually got the house, but the way he did was he set a number of goals and he worked towards them. He said that goal number one was paying off all his debt. And a lot of people hear that and think, well, that's never going to happen. But he did. He worked 2 jobs, sometimes 3, and that's all his extra money went into paying off his debt. He took control of his life the way he knew how. And he honestly has never been happier. Now, some of the things that'll help you in day-to-day life is if you can create a daily schedule, be organized, and learn to use your time wisely, it'll help you have more free time. If you can do 2 or 3 things in the same hour, don't give them each an hour to do. Well, I can go to the grocery store, come back home, unload the groceries. Then I had to go to the laundromat, come back home, unload the laundry. Things like that. Whereas, if you just made a schedule and realized, well, the grocery store is on my way home from the laundromat, and maybe I go pick up my laundry first, then go to the grocery store, then go home just once. Things like that, and that'll free up a lot of your time. Plan your day using the available time to accomplish your tasks. The one rule of business that's probably more important than anything else is show up and be on time. It's very important. As some people, you'll hear them jokingly say, 99% of business is showing up, and it's not 99%, but it's very important to show up and be able to be relied upon. That's how businesses view you. If you can be relied upon, they look to you to be, maybe take the next step within that business. The pattern of being late or absent can be broken. A lot of people say, oh, I just can't get up in the morning. I just can't be on time. I just can't. A big way to change that is change your attitude. Don't go in with the I can't. Oh, I just can't do this. I just can't. Well, let's talk about what you can do. Oh, you can't be on time. You can't wake up early. Can you get to bed earlier? Maybe that'll help you wake up a little earlier. Things like that. Plan better. And I can't stress the third one enough. Realistic estimation of your time. And this works in 2 different ways. Knowing how long things take is a good thing. Don't tell someone I'll be there in 10 minutes. And they're across town and you can't make it on your fastest day without running into traffic or construction or red lights. On your fastest day, you can't make it in under 15 minutes. Don't say 10 minutes. That's not realistic. That's the one way that works. Now, also, know what you can do in time. Oh boy, I have 3 hours after work. I have nothing scheduled. I'm going to, I want to take a nap and I want to pick up my friend at the airport and I got to pick up my laundry and then I pick up my groceries. And, now you're filling your time, which is fine, but just have a realistic expectation of what is going to take how much time. So therefore, you're not constantly just running to try to catch up. Now, there are very common mistakes, and they are something everybody does. 4 common mistakes of the human relations are failing to listen. That's number 1 for a reason. A lot of people hear things but don't listen. It's very important to develop listening, especially in a business environment. Misjudge others' abilities. This happens all the time, and failing to accept responsibility for mistakes. You make a mistake right away. That was me. I'm sorry. That was completely on me. If your boss is saying, "Who did this?" and it was you, and you don't say anything, it just makes it worse. And now there's something between you and your boss. You're essentially living with a mistake you made. And now if you say something after the whole thing, it feels like it's going to be worse than it is. Right away, hold up to your mistakes. And lacking self-motivation. And this is hard for a lot of people. Self-motivation is very tough. But I will tell you one secret to do well in this school you're in now, is very important to be self-motivated. To be able to wake up in the morning and say, okay, I'm going to read 1 chapter today. Okay, I'm going to do 2 discover more tests today. Whatever it is. Now, motivation is the incentive that begins and sustains the things we do. So you have a motivation right away. I'm going to use the example of Penn Foster. When you enroll, your motivation was something. It's something made you pick up that phone or go on that computer and say, I want to be a part of that. That you are motivated. Now you need to sustain that. So you need extra motivation, whether it be you got a 90 on a test and that made you happy. You want to keep doing that, or you don't understand the concept and you call in, you speak to an instructor or a teacher's assistant, and we explain it, and all of a sudden you understand it and you're like, boy, that was really good. I want to keep going. Anything can motivate you. You can internally motivate yourself, and that's any motivation you provide for yourself. And then you can externally get motivation from other people or another person. A big one here at the school, I find after working here for almost 10 years, a big one people usually have externally is their kids. I want to show my kids I can do this. I want to do this for my kids. It's very nice to hear, and it's very great to have that kind of motivation. Relationships can be damaged through thoughtless behavior and misunderstandings. I know it doesn't matter how old you are listening to this webinar, 13 all the way up to 93. We've all had relationships that have been damaged through our thoughtless behavior or a misunderstanding. But the good news is any relationship can be repaired. If you consider other person's point of view, if you change problematic behavior, if you communicate open and honestly, if you say, it was my fault. I didn't understand what you said, and I did this anyway, and I shouldn't have done that. Just be open and honest. One of the things you'll run into when you're trying to work your way through anything, whether it be a book, I'm reading through a book or whatever it is they call it a plateau period. And what that is a time where there's a little growth or development. Now, to deal with that, You have to have patience. Maybe you build other interests. For me, I was going through a period of time where I really loved my job, which I still do. I really loved what I was doing, but then I was leaving here, and I was finding that I was kind of, you know, I didn't have much else going on other than my job, so I started to develop an interest in selling things on eBay, and that has led to, like, I didn't plateau too long. I really just built another interest. Sometimes just changing your approach can do the same thing. If you're doing it one way and you feel like you're spinning your wheels, try it another way. Try doing it the opposite way. See what happens. And then, as always, as we've discussed several times, using positive self-talk is really a great way to do any of this. Now, the best practices for renewing an attitude, believe me, we all get down in this world, and we all need time to renew ourselves. One of the best strategies for maintaining that positive attitude is maintain a realistic schedule. We talked about that. Set goals. We talked about that. Give yourself some private time, whether that be 10 minutes every night to read the book you want to read, or saving up time you always wanted to go see Ireland, and buy yourself that trip and go. Things like that. And a big one, the biggest maybe of this group, is handling problems quickly. The worst thing you can do with a problem is let it sit there. You want to handle it quickly. You want it to come to a quick conclusion. You don't want things to drag on, because that's when they seem insurmountable. That's when they seem bigger than they really are. We just talked about periodic attitude renewal can happen through vacation and maintaining positivity. But go to that vacation, make that your goal. Get that vacation, and always just remain positive. Don't get too down on yourself. Oh boy, I got a 60. That's not passing. Okay, I understand that can be a negative thing, but it could also be a positive thing of, well, I'm going to try to study a little harder. I'm going to try a little harder to learn. I'm going to give myself positive motivation. Your physical health always contributes to your mental health. So you should eat right. You should get enough sleep. You should exercise. These will all renew your attitude. As delicious as it is to eat hamburgers from McDonald's, and believe me, I know, I've had my share. You'll feel so much better if you have salads, or if you instead of candy, you have an orange on lunch. You'll feel better, and this will help renew your attitude. Now, the one thing I will say is I am staying. I will stay until I answer the questions. I do want to thank you guys for attending today. I thank you very much. Have a great rest of the week. I hope you have a great weekend. And if you have any other questions, even after this webinar, please feel free to give us a call. We are here 9 a.m. to 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, and we will try to get any question you have answered. I do thank you very much for attending today. Have a great day and a great weekend.